What's up, fellas? Welcome to another video. Yep, that's right. I'm playing again in the winter, playing outside in the snow. This is the second time I'm going this year, but my very first scenario. So I'm a little excited about that. This scenario was actually canceled sometime in January because of the snow. So I don't know what to expect in this scenario right now, because the past couple of weeks we've had quite a few snowstorms. I think we had definitely more than 3 feet over the past 2 weeks. It was just like snowstorm after snowstorm, and we actually had another one maybe a couple of days ago which dropped about a foot, and then it rained, sleet, whatever. But I don't know how many people are going to be there now. I've heard that on a typical scenario they would have about 80 people. So 40 on 40, that's a pretty good number. But I don't know how many people are going to be coming out today. Hopefully it's going to be a lot. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see who the diehards are, or who the crazies are, willing to play in the snow, schlepping it out, and trying to stay dry, trying to stay warm out in the snow, and trying to run or waddle from bunker to bunker. So we'll see how it goes. One treat for you guys out there: Polo Just for Paintball is actually coming to play today too. We're going to be on the same team. The scenario is called Arctic Spear. It's when North Korea invades South Korea, and South Korea is asking the US for some help, so they're sending the Navy SEALs, and that's the team that we are going to be playing for. So just from that, I'm expecting to be vastly outnumbered. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how we'll be able to run, like I said before, from bunker to bunker, or try and stay hidden, because this camo is not really working in the snow. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you again for watching these videos and making a comment. I truly appreciate you guys taking the time to make comments. So enjoy. Thanks again. So here we are at the field. Polo Just for Paintball and I actually got there early. We got there around 9 a.m. and there weren't that many people there, about 8 others. Yeah. But I got a couple technically wasn't going to get started until 10 anyway, so we basically just hung out to fill the time and just wait. As far as the weather, when we first got there, the snowflakes weren't as big, but as time went on, as you can see, the snow got heavier. Snowflakes got bigger, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too cold, especially once we started moving around. It felt fine. We were actually more worried about the gun and the paint. So here we are, getting situated with our starting point. We exactly weren't sure where we were supposed to be starting and respawning from. So if you're familiar with the field, we were told to be by the other end of the containers, and we had to infiltrate and attack all the way to the woods. And here we are getting started. Just started in the container, and there was a little bit of confusion in the beginning. See any of them? We saw some people in some of the houses all the way in the corner to the right, and at first we weren't sure if they were our teammates or the other team, and it took a couple of minutes to figure out that they were actually shooting at us. So as far as trying to rush and get a head start and get to the middle of the field, that wasn't happening. So that we were just a little bit confused at this point to see who we were supposed to be shooting at. We were expecting to be able to run to the other side and make it by the tree line and start. As you can see, we basically got stuck in the container shooting. So after a few minutes, once we got situated, we decided to move forward. Actually, I didn't realize there were actually some people on our team that made it to the other container up ahead. And all we could see were shadows, and we could have sworn the guns were pointed at us, and we shot into the windows, only to find out that they were also our teammates. So that was a little bit of an embarrassing beginning. So as far as the weather, like I said before, it wasn't too bad. You can see in the beginning of the rounds, quite a few people had bags on top of their hoppers, especially the ones with speed feeds, because we didn't want the paintball swelling up from the snow or the water. I was also worried.
Yo, inside the containers are friendly!
The breach because I'm using an Ego, and it's an open bolt marker, so that was one worry I had.
In the containers are friendly.
About playing in the snow, but
he's aiming at us.
I kept it covered when I wasn't shooting or when I was running, so I basically had my forearm right over that area, and so far so good. It wasn't too bad. And here you can see we're finally moving up to the other container, and our battle with the enemy or the opponents who were by the tree line. That one was a little bit tougher.
Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
It's like I just got scared.
Right side! Right
You
side!
can see that person all the way in front of me who had a good angle at it. But anyway, that was a slow fight with the people by the tree line. As the objectives,
12 o'clock.
when we were briefed in the beginning of the scenario, it had to be changed quite a bit because of the snow.
The one with the blue
so
paint
I guess
here.
some of the side missions or little missions that we were supposed to have being seals, they were changed. So from what I heard, they were simplified. We were just basically going to be dropped off with our teammates and fight together.
He's out!
The field and try to assassinate their president, which was the field owner, and they were actually going to try and assassinate our president, who, if I believe correctly, was playing with a pump or an autococker. So that's how it was. Here we are trying to battle our way through the tree line. Like I said, that one was a bit tough, because shooting into the snow, when you're shooting far away, you definitely lost the paintballs and you couldn't really track to see where it was going. So it was hard to adjust your shots. And to top it off, trying to get the paintballs through the branches, the twigs, and whatnot, that took a while. The snow wasn't too bad where we started.
I'm right behind you.
Maybe less than a foot, so running wasn't too much of an issue. It wasn't until we got farther down to the woods, the trees, that you definitely we saw a significant change in the depth of the snow, and that's when we had to start bunny hopping and waddling through the snow, which made it a little bit more difficult advancing and moving from bunker to bunker while being shot at. So that also kind of slowed us down. But for the next few minutes, it was a slow and steady push.
How many in the house in front of us?
We just had to make sure that we take out the ones that could actually get us. Some of the other ones were too far back, but they just kept shooting. I guess they didn't realize that the chances of a paintball going through the branches were pretty slim. So we weren't too worried about them. The enemy or our opponents were pretty much spread out. I saw a couple to the far left, but for some reason they decided to retreat, and we basically used that opportunity to move up and try and fight the ones that stayed in the middle. So here we are, about to keep going closer to the tree line. There is maybe 2 or 3 guys up ahead, and it was tough to try and get them. So
I think I'm gonna move.
The only other way, instead of just shooting all my pods and paintballs and waste them and have to go back and refill, I just took the chance to to move up and see if I can get a better shot. Now, personally, I do not like popping up and down to get a shot. I just think that's a significant disadvantage to me. But using cracks and openings, that's a little bit better. But I really dislike having to pop up. I think that popping out to the side is a lot easier and faster to gauge where your opponents are, only because your head is not as exposed as if you're going up and down.
Watch out, somebody's hiding over there in our left.
So this is about where some of the guys, I don't know what happened, they kind of retreated when we were able to get 1 or 2 people out. So we slowly used the trees and the thick
I want to move by the trees.
branches and whatnot to be able to provide cover and some protection from the paintballs. And it was basically like this for the rest of the day in terms of the snowfall. It was pretty steady. We got quite a few, and each time I went to the staging area, our bags were wet, the tables were wet. So it was basically a matter of keeping everything dry and protected, especially if we were using a caddy or a speed feed and whatnot. One thing I didn't realize until much later were those were actually thorns. I thought they were just really thin branches hanging down, and I didn't realize until my jersey and my pants started getting caught in those little thorns. But thank goodness I was wearing some layers and I didn't really injure myself or have a cut on my arms and or legs from getting too close to those thorns. That's one thing I'll have to remember when we do a scenario in springtime. Watch out for those thorns. A couple of times, if you'll see in the video, I kind of fall because the snow was pretty deep. And for you snowboarders out there that have ridden in fresh powder, how hard it is to get up.
Watch out, on our left, on our left.
Can easily get up with
Somebody's
your hands,
walking to our left.
Your hands just sink.
Yo, tell that guy to go and watch the left.
Holding one gun and trying to push yourself up with one hand when it's
one guy
sinking.
walking.
That took a few minutes to try and get up, and had to actually pull myself up from whatever I could find, like branches that were just there, or push myself off from a fallen tree limb. We were actually kept back from 1 or 2 people on the far left. We couldn't easily get to them, but there were a few people up ahead, just above those logs. So I tried to get a better angle and try to go up on those logs. But as you'll see in a few minutes, I actually get stuck behind these logs. There was no way for me to jump over them and get to the bunker up ahead without getting shot at from the left or really exposing myself for an extended period of time. But some of those guys that were close by didn't expect us to be so close, so that was good for us to be able to shoot them out. I think I was able to get 1 or 2 people that were trying to shoot my teammates all the way to the right, and they weren't expecting me to be right there in the middle. But when it was time to move up, it was tough to try and find a way to get over to the other side. You'll probably see me looking to the left or to the right to try and find a way to safely get over. I tried to think about maybe just jumping over those logs, but I wasn't sure about what was going on the other side, if there were any other branches sticking up, and I didn't want to end my day that way. The paintballs were flying okay, but then again I totally forgot the duct tape to put over the porting of my barrel. I think that would have helped tremendously in keeping the paintballs flying straight. I think just keeping it open when the snow would melt, would get some of the water back into the inside the barrel, which would certainly affect my accuracy. So that's one thing I forgot, but for the most part it didn't wasn't significantly horrible. I was still able to shoot some people that were fairly close, although I had to shoot a little bit more than I would have wanted. But I was surprised I was able to hold off for so long with just 4 pods and having to shoot so much. If you've seen my other videos, I tend not to shoot too much during a game, so this was actually the game that I shot the most. I went through 4 pods before doing
try and go around.
a little bit more aggressive and finally getting shot out. So one guy from my right actually came from this spot and moved up to the bunker that I was trying to get to. So once he was able to get up there, I decided to double back, go to where he was, and try and run to the bunker that I had originally wanted to go to. I could hear maybe 2-3 people still up ahead. So just trying to gauge if I was going to be able to make it waddling through the snow, or if I was going to get shot on my way there. Yeah, right there. As I'm running, you can see that blue splatter on the right side of the lens. Just barely made it. I think I ran into the stream or the lane of the other guy. He was getting pounded and pinned in there, and I just happened to run right into it. Unfortunately, it was just a splatter. One of the times I was grateful I still don't have a speed feed. There were maybe 3 people left up ahead of us. It was tough to try and get them, especially just using that little hole. I could see them, but they did a pretty good job in staying low and shooting just a little bit and not really exposing themselves. So that took a few minutes to try and get them out or see how it goes.
I see one guy on 12 o'clock, but there's more people to...
One thing I noticed about playing in the snow, I guess when you're playing and the adrenaline is going, you don't really mind too much running in the deep snow. It wasn't until when the round was over and having to walk back, all the way back to the staging area, that everybody just was so tired. The legs started hurting. Everybody was just taking their time walking to the staging area because we didn't realize it when we were playing, but the snow was pretty deep. It was about, I don't know, more than 2 feet. So to have to like try and run through that snow or even walk when we weren't playing was we didn't realize what we were playing. I decided to cut a few of the dead spots, and we finally went up a little farther to where these logs were, and I was able to get a good drop on some of the people behind those twigs right there. I guess they didn't realize they could still be shot through the openings there, especially if somebody was that close. All right. Here's a question for you. I get that guy. I one ball him, and I see him look down at his chest, and he then proceeds to shoot at me. Now, you know, I'm assuming that it probably just bounced off his jersey or overalls, but I just want to see what you think. Was I a little overboard in coming back out and shooting 6 or 7 back at him just to make sure he's out, or was I justified in doing that? And if that was your position, if you one ball the guy but he bounced and he stayed and shot at you, how many shots would you take to get him out? If you look closely, he was totally not expecting me. He was totally out in the open. I guess it was just unexpected, and I just wanted to make sure I got him out. So I just wanted to make sure if I was right in shooting that much at the guy. So hope you enjoyed the video. I'll try and head out again soon. Thank you for watching. If you watched it in all its entirety, thank you. Like I said, with a question I posed to you, let me know what you think or what you would have done. Thanks again.